Hi folks, this is Diamond Distributor, Simon Brookes. We have 60 seconds before we start. Make sure you go. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are in the world. My name's Simon Brookes, and I'd like to welcome you to our very first webinar training. This event is going to be so different to any event that you've listened to before. Why? Because you are going to be a major part of it. Firstly, I'd like to welcome you to this webinar, and I'm very, very excited with the way you guys are building the business. Things are really now starting to rocket. Before I go any further, what I'm going to do is I just want to do a little bit of housekeeping, and I'd like to do some recognition. What I'd like to do is to recognize 3 people that have gone power last week. Wang Chan Wang in Thailand that did it in 14 days. Then Tan Yu Wang in Taiwan that did it in 3 days. And then Jordan Chan in Taiwan that did it in 7 days. Congratulations, guys. Every one of you are going to be getting $200 from the company as a thank you, because these folk have done it within 15 days. And here's the great part. This is open to them again and again and again. It's not a one-off $200. They can do it all the time. And the interesting thing is every single one of their uplines gets a $50 bonus. So that is fantastic. Okay, what I'd like to do is I'd like to make sure that you all understand how this is going to work this evening. Can you all look at your system, and where you've got a hand, click the hand, so you're putting the hand up. So if I ask questions and I need people to know if they can hear me, I need you just to click the hand. So if you can click the hand now, and we get confirmation whether that's happened. Click the hand so that we can see that people are listening and taking notes. Okay, that's great, every one of you. Fantastic. Okay, now, what you're going to need to do is, as this goes on, I'm going to do a little bit of speaking to beforehand, and then we're going to take your questions, and I will answer your questions. So the first thing you need to do is to understand how to send your question. So if anybody doesn't understand, click the hand. If that means the hand goes up, means you don't know how to send a question. So click the hand now if you don't understand. Okay, so there's some of you that don't understand. Okay, there's a box. In actual fact, rather than me tell you, I'm going to ask Frazer to walk you through it. Frazer, can you do that for me?
Yeah, sure. On the right-hand side of your screen, you should see a box that says questions. So you simply, and it says in another box, type here. You literally type here, hit enter, and it sends me the question. I can then read out the questions to Simon, and then Simon can answer them. So if we could just have somebody, if someone could just write test in the asking the question, just so I know they're coming through, great. Brilliant. Thanks, Alan. Back to you, Simon.
Okay, thanks a lot, Frazer. Okay, now the interesting, most important thing is I just want to do some housekeeping. Is there's a bunch of you that have not yet registered for your international pay card. And I think there's going to be a few of you that don't understand how you do that. When you go into your back office, to the left-hand side, if you've got sign up for your pay card in green, it means you've not registered for your pay card. That means when you earn commissions, how do you think you're going to earn them? How do you think you're going to receive them? You need to make sure that you click on the pay card, and that will then take you through to the Payoneer system for you to get your international pay card. That is absolutely crucial. Okay, so has everybody put their hand up if you understand that and if you've registered for your pay card? Okay, good stuff. Okay, let's move on. What I'd like to do is I'd like you all to have a look at this site, which is Destination Diamond. And it's come to our attention that a lot of you aren't using this site. If you notice, you now got English in the US, Russian, Hungarian, Danish, and then resources and everything else. So it's now in different languages. You need to understand that this is going to be in a multilingual opportunity. It's a multilingual business, and we need to use the step-by-steps. I'm going to teach you a system that I'm working with people that I sponsor frontline. And the system is getting people to power, and it's getting some people to nearly qualify as global. The system is, when you're making your prospect list, that you need to be searching these people and sending, initially, set up a phone call, speak to them and turn around and say, hi, John, it's Fred here. How's the wife? How's the family? Do some blueprinting, do some rapport building, build rapport. Fred, what I'd like to do is I'd like to share with you an opportunity that I've got involved with. I'm working with some people making some significant income. What I'd like to do is I'd like to send you a website that's going to take 30 minutes out of your time for you to have a look at. When you've seen it, I'd like you to come back to me so we can take the next step. Does that sound fair? 4 words. Does that sound fair? I always look to get yeses with the questions I ask. So does that sound fair? People say yes. Okay, great. So then you turn around and say to people, give me your email address, your up-to-date email address that you receive your emails on, that you use all the time. And then you send them the link, www.destinationdiamond.co.uk. And you tell them, or you don't tell them, you ask them to go through steps 1 and 2. Now, steps 1 is going to be a very, very brief 5-minute presentation with me speaking. And step 2 is going to be either in English, Russian, Hungarian, or Danish. So they can choose whichever country they're in that they can listen to. So after they've listened to this, try and guesstimate when they're going to listen to it, when they're going to see it. Then if you haven't had a phone call or an email or Skype within about a 30-minute period, you then contact them. Now, at the moment, everybody is living on the Skype. So you turn around and say to people, look, especially with our business now, if people are in Australia, or if they're in South Africa, or if they're in Russia, or if they're in America, you use Skype. Skype is free. And what do we do with the Sherlock? We love free. So you get people to install Skype. So when they listen to step 1 and 2, you then 3-way them to your sponsor, to your upline, to the person that you're working with on a day-to-day basis, the person that is giving you the support and giving you the help. Now, when I speak to people, I can't do 3 ways until they've been through step 1 and 2. Why? Because you're trying to shoot a target in the dark. You can't do it. You have to be speaking to somebody that knows why you're speaking to them, what you're speaking to them about. Because 9 times out of 10, when you're talking to a prospect, they turn around and say, well, what's it all about? And you are trying to do all the hard work and explain the opportunity, and it's a nightmare. So if you get them to listen to step 1 and 2, it does all the heavy lifting. So can you put your hands up if you understand that? Okay, let's move on. Right, so you need to keep with a system. And then with the system, you need to understand that people, because we've had this, this webinar has been coming out because we had problems with the code. Every single person needs to be joining our email loop, which is www.simonbrooks.info. And if you click on resources on this website, where Frazer is just doing it now, resources comes down and you can click on there which says sign up for a free newsletter at the bottom, and then you've got all my details and everything else, and that's everything to do with us. Okay, you need to get every one of your people registered on this email loop. Why? Because if there's something that happens that we need notification as fast as we can, you will hear it and see it first from that website, well before the company get out information. That is crucial. You need to get all of your team on this email loop. And I normally send out about 1 email a day, sometimes might be 2 or 3. Depends on how much activity is actually happening. So what I'd now like to do is I'd like to take our first question. So if anyone's got a question, you write the question down, and then as it's writing down, Frazer can read out the question and who it's from, so we can then answer the questions in the fastest possible way we can. So I'm going to talk while a couple of you are writing those questions down. Do not forget, this is not being recorded, so you will need to take a notepad and pen so that you can take down the question and you can jot down the answer. Now, if you do shorthand, you're going to be ahead of the game. So, okay, are we ready with the first question?
Yeah. Craig in Australia said, "What do you think's the best way? What was the best way of approaching somebody? Would you go with the app or would you go with the business?"
Okay, great question. Okay, would I go with the app or would I go with the business? Now, here's an interesting thing. I've been in the industry for coming up 25 years in October. And with my business I was with for 18 years, I had in my team 156,000 distributors through 34 countries. And it was in health and nutrition. And if you think about it, how many customers do you think I would have had after 18 years with one company? Just write in how many you think, whether you think it's 10, whether you think it's 100, whether you think it's 1,000, put some numbers in. Frazer, if you can tell me what those numbers are.
5,
as fast as we can.
3, 50, yeah, 10.
Okay, well, I had 3 customers, and guess what, folks? That was 3 too many. This is the reason why. People say to me, well, what, isn't it all about getting as many apps? Yes, guess what? I'm going to get eventually 1,000 apps onto my system. And guess how I'm going to do that? I'm going to do that by having and recruiting and sponsoring 1,000 distributors. And guess what all of you guys are doing? You're going, what? 1,000 distributors? Yep. Am I going to do that today or tomorrow? No. Am I going to do that over the course of, let's say it's going to be 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, whatever. With that company I was with for 18 years, I sponsored a brand new distributor every single week in, week out. If I had a 3-week holiday, the next time I came back, I had to recruit 4 people to keep my averages. So I recruited around about, it was 50 odd people a year, and in a 10-year period, I'd recruited 524 people. So it averaged 1 person every single week. Now, sorry, every single day. So if you think about it, no, sorry, every single week, that was right. So if you think about it, if you recruit 100 people like I've done so far with the Sherlock, I've got 100 apps that's out there. So for people to turn around and say, oh, how do you get 100 apps installed? Do you give out flyers? Do you give out leaflets? Do you give out cards? No, you recruit distributors. Your distributors, your best people to use the apps. And this brings me straight onto a subject. What every single one of you need to have belief. To you to get out the starting gate, you need massive belief. And I'm going to tell you why I got to diamonds so quick. Because I used the product and abused the product as fast as I could. And I'm going to give you some stories really, really fast. I wear contact lenses every day. In my opticians, I spend £90 a quarter. No, I don't. I spend £90 a month, excuse me, on my contact lenses. I took the same product, same brand, same prescription into the Sherlock, and I now spend, instead of £90, £36. That's one. I've also got 300 downlights in my house, and the light bulbs are called GU10s. Our local superstore sells the light bulbs for £4. On the Sherlock, bought them for 70p. Now, with those product stories, I have got 100% belief that the product works. So for you to get belief, this is what I say to every single new distributor that I sponsor. Your homework is to get 5 product stories to get your belief. Now, I don't know whether that's going to be a Hoover, whether it's going to be a television, whether it's going to be pots, pans, whatever it's going to be, but you need to get your belief. So get your new distributors to get people getting 5 product stories. And I'm going to give you a story. We've actually got one of our people from the Philippines on the webinar this evening. We're not going to hear from him, but that's Charles Monk, Charles and Emily Monk in the Philippines. Wow, that's early for you guys. That's about 1 1:15 in the morning. That's commitment for you. Now, what turned Charles on was when he got involved originally, going back, let's think that's about 5-6 weeks ago. I turned around and said to Charles, Charles, I tell you what you need to do. You need to go and get their 5 product stories. He said, but the Philippines hasn't got an app. I said, no, that's right. So yeah, get the Sherlock, change the settings. Your nearest country will be Australia. So switch it for Australia. And I said, get your children to do some homework. Go on the computer and search. And he came back to me after 3 hours later and said, wow, Simon, I can't believe it. He said, my son just got this baseball mitt that he said it's so many pesos in the Philippines, and getting it on the Sherlock delivered from Australia was nearly half the price. We were blown away. So that turned Charles's light on. And Charles then goes and hits Power Distributor 3 consecutive times. And he's halfway, no, he's 3/4 of the way to going global. Folks, you need to get people getting belief. The way to get belief is to get them getting belief with the product, getting them getting savings. That is fundamental and it's crucial. Let's take another question, Frazer.
Yeah, Serge has asked, how would you work with downline? How would you work with your downline?
How do I work with the downline?
Yeah.
Okay, now this is Serge, who's Russian but lives in the UK. Real simple. This is what I say to all my people. You have to contact me every single day. Give you an example. I've got just under 50,000 distributors in my organization. Let me ask you a question. When you get 50,000 distributors, is it easier for you to contact 50,000 people or for 50,000 people to contact one, which is their upline? Obviously, for them to contact you. So what I say to people who I build into the team is, here's the deal. I will work my rocks off with you if you work your rocks off with me. I will never, ever, ever quit you until you quit me. You have to contact me every single day. Now, it doesn't matter whether they're in Australia, doesn't matter whether in Russia, doesn't matter whether in America, whether they're in Canada. We've got Skype, so they can communicate with me. And the best part, excuse me, the best part of Skype is that if you are walking the dog, or let's say every morning we go down onto the beach with the dog, I can put on my Skype offline, so they know I'm not here, so they know I can't speak to them. But the easiest way to how do you work with your team is you speak to them every single day. Guess what? If your team, your frontline people are going to be phoning you every day, this is what they're not going to say. Hey, Simon, I only live 10 miles down the road from you. What's the weather like where you are? No one's ever going to say that. And if someone's in a different country, they're never going to say that. Why? Because hopefully they haven't got time to say that. See, what the first things you need to do is to say to people, right, get your contact list together. How many people have you given away the free product to? And then start to communicate with them, start to talk them through. Who have you spoken to? How have you spoken to them? What have you said to them? Have you got them on step 1, 2? It's a very, very simple process. But you see, I treat it with a lot of fun. I very rarely, I mean, I live life by 2 philosophies. Number 1, never at my age. Number 2, I never grow up. So I always treat it with a massive amount of fun. And people say to me, oh, Simon, you treat everything such with a lot of fun. Do you not take anything seriously? I'm thinking, why? Why would you want to take something seriously? Why would you want to get serious with a prospect, with a new distributor? A new distributor wants to get out of the serious scenario. They want to get out of the job. They want to get involved with something, whether it be on a part or full-time basis, that's going to be fun. And that's what we do. We abuse the word fun. Next question.
Okay, Paulina in America has said she's got a very small warm market. What are your thoughts about cold calling?
Okay, I think cold calling, you've got to have masochistic tendencies. Cold calling is a great concept, but you've really, really got to be strong. Now, when people say, I've got a very, very small warm market, the smart thing to do would be, let's say if you got a small warm market, I don't know, let's say 6 people. Now, you got to have 6 people at least, because when you die, you got to have 6 people to carry your coffin. But let's say these 6 people, You need to work with these 6 people and turn around and say, Mary, what I want to do is I want to build 20 people in your team. Does that sound fair? All I need from you, Mary, is one name. Get Mary to give you one name. So you then go through Mary's circle of influence. Now, that's another way. Then you get hold of Mary. Let's say Mary gives you John, and you turn around and say, John, what I want to do is I want to put 19 people in your team. All I need from you is one person. Can you give me one name? But that's if you've got a small, warm market. Another way is you can advertise if you want to advertise for distributors. Now, in my first, I haven't advertised with the Sherlock. I haven't advertised for about the last 2 years in networking, but I've built my whole business on cold market advertising. Now, that's a whole different training process, and that really is a face-to-face thing. It's not so much on a webinar. But yeah, I normally advertise in newspapers, and if I advertise in a newspaper, it's always a blind advert. Now, blind advert means you tell them everything, but you tell them nothing. Tell them absolutely nothing. There's 2 things that 7 billion people worldwide have in common. Number 1's money, and number 2, sex. Now, we can't promote sex, but we can promote money. Now, if you put money in an advert, your phone will ring off the wall. But you can turn around and say, well, do you want to make £10 a week, or do you want to make £10 an hour? Or I'm a great believer, I always go for big money. But again, this is a whole different deal. I could go for hours and hours and hours talking about advertising and everything else. But I wouldn't do leaflets and flyers, not me. To me, that's like you burn too much shoe leather, and it's very, very hard, and I don't think it's productive. Okay, next question, Frazer.
Alan in the UK has asked, who do you think does the best in the MLM industry? The best inviter, the best promoter to events, or a person who handles objections the best?
Well, that's very interesting. And I know Alan personally, and he can address all 3 of those. Now, you can say, you know, what's the best one? The best inviter, invited to what? A webinar, invited to a presentation. The best promoter. I would say I'm the best promoter. Give an example. With the amount of people that's listened or had registered 2 hours before this webinar, 20% of the people that had registered, I personally sponsored. 20%. Can you believe that? And people say, well, how can you make so much money, son? How can you make thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands a week? It's because I do promote and I do invite. It's all 3 of those things. You need to be, see, my opinion is, if you look at poker, I'm all in. I'm 24/7 with the business, and I'm all in. I live, sleep, dream, and drink it. Me, it's like our family, we speak nothing but the Sherlock. And we are so 24/7 with it. It's like I do regular meetings every single week at my home. We're on the webinars like twice a week. We're on the company webinars. We're now going to be doing these trainings every single Tuesday. So get used to it. Now, a lot of people tell me, say, well, I can't make it. Well, I don't care if people got open heart surgery. You need to cancel it. These events are more important than anything else in your life. Otherwise, if you don't get serious with your business, you can't make serious money. Now, to make serious money, I mean, put your hand up if you want to make $1 million a year with this opportunity, because I'm going to share with you how to make $1 million. Okay, just when it looks at that, we got a lot. Right, now this is what you need to do. Take a clean piece of paper, and I'm going to share with you a real simplistic view of looking at it. You need to create your own Magnificent Seven. You've seen the film with Yul Brynner, the Magnificent Seven, with the 7 cowboys, the great gunslingers. You need to create your own Magnificent Seven. This is how it works. When you've got these 7 people, and I'm going to be honest with you, I've got about 3, 4, and I'm looking at building more. So I haven't got my 7 yet, and I'm still looking, but then I'm always looking. So let's say you get one of the 7, and you help that one of those 7 to earn $10,000 a week. $10,000 a week. For that person to earn $10,000 a week, you will have to be a diamond. That means you're on 30% check match. So on your piece of paper, put down $10,000 and 30% of 10,000, because you get 30% of every single person you personally sponsor. 30% of 10,000 means you've earned $3,000 from that one person. Times 3,000 with your magnificent 7, that gives you 21,000 a week. 21,000 a week earns you over $1 million a year. When people say to you, Simon, how much of an elephant can you eat? All of it, but only one bite at a time. You know, you can't look at making $1 million a year and think, well, am I going to do that? Can't do that. I'm not even making $100 a week. How can I make $1 million a year? Get your magnificent 7 in place. Now, you might be one of these people that aren't serious with the business. Well, guess what? Then you're not going to be there. But let me ask you this question. Every single one of you that's in a job, have you got the chance in your job to earn $1 million a year? Guess what? I know the answer. It's no. At least with this, you've got a chance. When I very, very first got involved in this industry, going back 25 years ago, I was so excited. I never, ever, ever, ever wanted to quit. Why? Because there was one question that always came into the back of my mind, and the question was always, what's my alternative? Get a job? Well, guess what, folks? I've never, ever had a job in my life. And I'm 50-odd years old. Never had a job. So why would I want to start? You cannot beat being involved in your own multi-level marketing business. It is the best of the best. Okay, so getting back to Alan's question, is it the best inviter, the best promoter, or every one of those ingredients is the best? I definitely am the best promoter. Excuse me. Because I think if you promote events, whether it be webinars, whether it be meetings, whether it be leadership weekends, and you get high attendance that attend those events, you stand to make the most amount of money. Fact, 100%. Okay, next question.
Okay, quite a few people have asked this question. What would you say to somebody who says, to a prospect who says to you, it looks like a pyramid scheme, I don't want to get involved in a pyramid?
Okay, now we're getting into objections, which I can spend hours on. And bearing in mind, we haven't got a time limit on this webinar. When someone says, oh, it looks like pyramid, it's a pyramid scheme, guess what? That would be great if you lived in Egypt, but I don't know many people around my area that want to buy a pyramid. Now, I do tend to have, as I said to you before, I do tend to have a bit of fun with it. But when people say, oh, it's a pyramid scheme, then I say to people, really? Do you have a job? Do you have a boss? Are you part of a church? Let's look at this. If you look at, you've got the Pope, you've then got Cardinal. I don't know how the hierarchy goes, but let's look at the forces. The forces, you've got the Field Marshal, you've got the generals, you've got the colonels, you've got the majors, you've got the captains, you've got the troops. That's the biggest pyramid you're ever going to get. And guess what? All of those troops can never, ever, ever all be the Field Marshal. So, you know, my opinion is, if you think it's a pyramid and you think that's not for you, then great. I hope you find another way where someone can teach you and mentor you and help you earn $1 million a year. If you're going to do that with your job, or if you're going to do that with your business that I know you're struggling with, good luck with that one. But I'll tell you now, I'm taking my chances with my opportunity. And I would just keep focused. And there's a phenomenal YouTube cartoon, and I can't remember what it's called. If you go pyramid selling cartoon on YouTube, and it comes out with this cartoon that I think is one of the funniest cartoons you could ever see. You need to do that. Just Google it. Let's go into YouTube and put in pyramid selling cartoon. It's so funny. But again, pyramid selling, you know, any objections? What I tend to do is, someone gives me an objection, never, ever, ever answer the objection. Always answer the objection with a question. Someone says to me, oh, that's pyramid selling. I'm not really into that. My question would straight away be, really? Do you mind me asking, do you know what pyramid selling is? Do you understand it? And then you wait for them to answer you. Because I tell you now, about 99% of people know they think they don't like it, but they don't know what it is. So if you say to somebody, well, what do you think it is? Oh, is there with you've done this and you got all these, you recruit these people? No, guess what? That's not what it is. Otherwise, your church would be in pyramid selling. Otherwise, your job would be in pyramid selling. Otherwise, your sport would be in pyramid selling. Otherwise, industry would be in pyramid selling. Guess what? You're wrong. This is how it works. You build a team of people marketing a product, and you earn a benefit from what they do, and you help them do it. The DTI wrote a white paper in 1990 in March. Legalizing network marketing is one of the most honorable and ethical businesses for an individual to become part of. So don't give me all this balderdash that it's pyramid selling and it's illegal, because guess what? You don't know what you're talking about. But I will be straight in their face and I will be right up front with them. Next question.
Okay, again, quite a few people have asked this. What happens if a prospect says, I don't have the money to join right now?
That's a good question. Again, never answer the question. Because if somebody thinks, oh, I haven't got enough money, you're looking at that possibly as an objection, but it's not really, it's a question that they need an answer to. So my answer to that question would be, if someone says, I haven't got enough money, the answer is, how much money do you have? Yeah, but I've got no money. Really? Well, how much? If you could find the ideal business that I could help you earn $1 million a year, or let's not even say $1 million a year, let's say 1,000 a week. Do you think that will benefit you and your family? 1,000 a week? My dad doesn't earn that, and he's been working for the company for 50 years. Okay, well, with a business that could tick all the boxes that you could really, really like and enjoy and be part of, how much would you like to invest in that business? Have you ever looked at a franchise? Oh, yeah. Really? How much have you looked to invest in a franchise? Oh, they're about 25,000. Wow, 25,000. That's a fortune. Where are you going to get 25,000? Oh, exactly. I haven't got any money. Well, how much money have you got? If they gave you the perfect franchise and it was only 3,500, but it was absolutely perfect, could you rob a bank and get the money? Oh, yeah, if it was only 3,500, that's a different can of worms. Oh, right. Okay, well, what if it was only $249 one off? Would that be a benefit? Oh, wow, that's a no-brainer. Oh, yeah. Or if you really haven't got that, then get a balaclava and go and rob a bank. You need to get the $249 because I tell you now, $249 where you're going to get all the support, you're going to get all the help, you're going to get all of the education to build a phenomenal business. You're never going to get that anywhere else on this planet. Does that sound fair? Oh yeah. Okay, well let's talk about how you can get the $249. Have you got a credit card? Because I tell you what, you could put it on a credit card and we could build your business and recruit and sponsor enough people that you could end up making more money than the $249. So it actually hasn't cost you anything. Does that sound fair? Always look to get yeses. Does that sound fair? Yeah. Next question.
Okay, Joseph in the UK has said that a lot of his prospects are asking him, how much have you made from this business? You know, when he's just joined. What would you say is the best way to answer that?
Okay, that's a good question. When someone looks at it and you've only been involved in the business for 5 minutes, you need to be the messenger, not the message. You turn around and say, well, look, John, I've been doing this for 24 hours. Do you expect me to be making millions from it? No. Guess what? The person I'm working with has made $500,000 in his first 24 months with the opportunity. Would that be an opportunity that you'd like to take a serious look at? Does that sound fair? Next question.
Somebody's just asked. Sorry, I can't make out the name. Somebody's just asked, how do you change your people from going from one leg to the other leg?
Okay, you go straight into your back office and you go into maintenance and you go update advancement placement. And you can switch it from either left leg or right leg or auto. Never switch it to auto. You need to have it onto left or right. Then you click reset or submit, and then you should get an email saying that that's been changed for you. Next question.
Okay, Imi in Hungary has just said, how do I check how many Sherlock applications have been installed from my website and how they've been used? How many times have they been used?
Okay, good question. Go again into your back office, go to the left-hand side, you click on maintenance, and then it says S2 system. You click on there, and it's got your, you have to install, oh God, was it? I do it 3 or 4 times a day. Frazer,
you click
through it. You click on the button.
You click installations report in the S2 manager under maintenance to see how many installations you've had. And then underneath that it says affiliate reports. So when you click that, it'll show you how many active Sherlocks you've got with the usage in both bar chart and pie chart form.
Good stuff. Next question.
That's it. We've had loads of questions. Oh, hang on. No, we haven't. Hang on. Yeah, why don't you set it on auto when you do your legs? Why not to set it automatic?
Okay, the reason why I would never set it to auto is because I need to know which leg I'm working. So if I'm working one leg, I'd want to power drive that one leg, and then I'd want to switch it to the other leg and power drive the other leg. So if I have it on auto, people might drop into a wrong leg or a different leg or leg I don't want them to go in. So I would always have it to either left or right. Okay, good stuff. Right, I'm now going to be giving you some homework. So what I need to do, a couple of bits of homework I'm going to say to you is that every single one of you that's listening to this webinar, you need to understand that you need to be speaking to your upline sponsor. Now, this is going to be an interesting statement. Your upline active sponsor. Now, that might not necessarily mean the person that sponsored you. It might mean your upline global or even above the upline global. But you need to contact them every single day. And don't ever have this opinion where you turn around and say, this is what I've had for years and years and years and years and years in this industry, where people say, oh, I can't bother him. He must be so busy. No, they want to be bothered. If you was getting umpteen phone calls from your distributors wanting support and help, you'll be phoning me up and you'll be emailing me and saying, Simon, I've got another one of me. And that's what all good networkers dream of. You need to get your 7 folks, and one of your 7 have got to be people phoning you every single day. Okay, homework. Every single one of you knows my email address. If you don't, then on this website where you've got resources, you go onto simonbrooks.info and it gives you my email address. I want every single one of you to give me one sentence of what you like the most from tonight's webinar. Just one. I don't want War and Peace. I don't want you writing a book. I just want one sentence, because then what I'll do is I need that sentence. Excuse me. I need that sentence within the next 24 hours, and I'll send a broadcast out promoting that to everybody to get more numbers for next Tuesday's meeting. Don't forget, we've got the same webinar that's going to be happening next Tuesday, same time. Don't forget, these aren't going to be recorded. So don't get your team saying, oh, I'll wait for the recording. Guess what? No, it's live. How can you record live questions? How can you record people? And here's another point. Make sure that you get some more different questions for next week. That's crucial. But get your people. Make sure you pick up the phone. Make sure that you speak to your contacts and get as many of your team on that next week's webinar as you possibly can. But some more homework. What we need to do is we need every single one of you, if you're a power or above, we need you to send me a picture because we're going to put it on the site. And let's just show you quickly how the site will look. Frazer, can you just show them where you're going to put their picture? Here we go. There's a picture of me and Julie. And then your pictures will be either side, and it will be spinning. And there'll be loads and loads and loads of people. So we need as many pictures. This site, folks, is for your team. So we need to make sure that it's got you on it to give you credibility. Okay, good stuff. So your homework, don't forget the one line. Get as many people registering on simonbrooks.info. But here's the most important thing we got. And 18, oh, I've already got emails already. Hey, I like it when a plan comes together. Thank you for the email straight away. Alan Flack, you're a superstar. Anyway, yes, we've got an event. Click on main event. We've got a leadership weekend in the United Kingdom. I'm sorry, people, but I do know that you've got people like Imi that's going to fly in from Hungary. Here's the event. Scroll down a bit. This is going to be a leadership weekend, the inaugural one at Cranage Hall. The best thing for everybody that's international, flying to Manchester Airport, and it's a taxi cab ride of 20 minutes to the hotel. We're actually flying in. Excuse me, Michael Weeder, the CEO and owner of the company, and apparently he was in Atlanta and he was awesome. So, folks, for your whole event, your whole weekend, for this is only £119. That's for your food, your accommodation, your teas, coffees, entertainment, everything. The only thing that you would need to spend extra is if you want a glass of wine or whatever of an evening with your evening meal. But everything, all your food and everything else is all included. So my time is up. Thanks for yours, and I will look forward to your emails that's coming through, and we can post out to everybody, and I'll look forward to speaking to you next Tuesday, 8 o'clock. Don't forget, guys, we'll send the link out. Look, have a good week, and I will catch up with you later. All the best. Bye-bye.